G'day everyone, welcome back to Sports Ranting. We're a couple of men down today. Jimmy's unwell, so get well soon, mate. And Mertz is gallivanting around New Orleans. I think he caught a Saints game yesterday, so not jealous at all, mate. But just going to push on. The show's got to go on, as they say. I thought we'd just do a bit of an NBA wrap-up, or sort of Aussie NBA wrap. We're 10 games into the season, roughly, so probably a decent enough sample size. The two main guys I wanted to look at, Ben Simmons and Josh Giddey. And such a contrast, these guys. Josh Giddey, that's all effort and does everything for his team and, wants to win.
$1 million move, 10-cent shot. Bulls will take it. On the run. Giddey pulls up. Bang, bang, bang. Timeout, Orlando.
And Ben Simmons, who frustrates the hell out of me.
Talked a lot about Cam Thomas.
Simmons bounces it away. Simmons shovels, gets it back. Boy, Ben Simmons
he has to go to the basket. Get it.
Maybe start with Ben. I mean, it looks like he's healthy. He's not playing back-to-backs. He either sits out the first or second game, but at least he's playing. He was starting a bunch of games, and now he's been benched with Nick Claxton coming back. But it's so frustrating. I often watch games, and I just watch Ben, and he's not crashing the boards. You see these opportunities, like a shot goes up, he just starts walking backwards, no matter who shoots. It's not showing those effort plays, and it just drives me nuts. He's averaging basically 6 boards, 6 assists and 6 points a game. He's actually shooting 75% free throws, believe it or not, but that's all from one game. He shot 3 of 4 in one game against Orlando and hasn't shot another free throw. Like, how's that possible for a 6'10 guy who's playing center at times? And it's mainly because he doesn't want to drive. He doesn't want to shoot. He doesn't want to put himself in that position to have to shoot free throws, because we know he's shit scared of shooting free throws. He's basically terrified of shooting anything but an open layup or a dunk, but he gives up those as well. And he's creative. He's got offensive moves. He's got little hook shots. He's basically ambidextrous. He can shoot off both hands. He's shooting 62% from the field when he does shoot. So it's like, come on, mate. His coach has got the team really playing hard, Fernandez, first-year coach. They've been right in some games. They were really close with Cleveland and with Boston, an overtime loss. And they're losing these games down the stretch, but at least they're competitive. But if they could just get a bit more out of Ben, a bit more effort, they'd be a much better team. And he's coming off contract. We know that he had this max deal, massive contract. He won't get anything like that in his next contract, but if he stays fit, he'll get another deal. He can add something to another team. Bill Simmons, a podcast that I love, had a big chat about him the other day and just said he's got trade value. He could jump on a team like the Warriors. He mentioned a bunch of teams that could use a big guy who can defend. And he's certainly a threat with the assists and the boards when he puts the effort in. He could just be doing a lot more. And I guess you contrast that with a guy like Josh Giddey, who I initially on the pod wanted him to stay with OKC, but only because he'd been part of this whole rebuild they've been doing. They were obviously going to have some success, and I wanted him to be part of that. But unfortunately, he was sort of surplus to requirements there, but it looks like it's been the best thing for him. Move to a young, rebuilding, Bulls team, more or less starting from scratch. And he's getting his opportunities. He's shooting better. He's obviously done some work. It's still a pretty ugly release on the jump shot, but he is shooting better. He's taking them. He's confident enough to shoot them when he's open, and teams are still leaving him open. He's on 13 points, 6 boards, his career high 7 assists, so he's finding his teammates. And he's talked about it already. He wants to find the open man. He wants to pass to Kobe White and Zach LaVine and these guys that they've got. They've had a bit of a rough start. Funnily enough, the Bulls and the Nets are both 4 and 6, but I think there's probably a bit more promise with what the Bulls are doing. So a couple of contrasting Aussies. We'd all like to see Ben just putting in a bit more effort and showing that he cares, and he basically plays like street ball. He loves the flashy passes and the sort of little give and goes, and he can thread a ball between defenders, and he's got incredible vision and skills. I just want to see a bit more of that effort, and loving what I'm seeing from Giddey so far. I think they'll just continue to build, and Billy Donovan's obviously putting a lot of trust in him. That's the other thing. Benny's not playing in crunch time. The whole back half of the fourth quarter against Boston, nowhere to be seen because he's a liability. So there's promise there. He seems fit-ish. Just pull your finger out, mate. A bit more effort. And then can segue into a couple other Aussies just quickly. Dyson Daniels. Hello. Come on down.
There by Dennis Schroeder.
And look at Dyson Daniels break up the play and come up with the basketball. Poked away by Dyson.
News.com did a story this week about is he Australia's best NBA player now? He'd be competing with Giddey for that title. Leading the NBA, the whole league, in steals, if you don't mind, and not just by a bit. He's on 3.3 steals a game. He's had a 7 steal game and a 6 steal game already. And next best is on 2. Steph Curry, might have heard of him. Bam Adebayo is another one. The guys that are around 2, which is good. And Daniel's way out there on 3.3. So stoked for him. Looking really comfortable in that Atlanta side and getting an increased role, which he wasn't getting with the Pelicans as much. Josh Green working his way back. Stats aren't great, but coming off an injury, he is starting. And the coach is pretty happy with his contribution both ends of the floor as well. So he's coming along. And just wanted to give shout out to our boy Patty Mills. Got another gig in his 16th season. He's with the Jazz, with a young team. He'll be a great sort of guiding voice for them. And wanted to point out, he's closing in on 8,000 career points. He's already in the NBA. He's already Australia's all-time leading scorer, and he's about 75 odd at the time of filming this, off 8,000 career points, which would be an awesome milestone. I think Giddey will go past that. Possibly Daniels will go past that. But Paddy, respect, mate. He just keeps on keeping on. It's awesome. And just finally, wanted to give a little shout out to the Kelpies. And I'm not talking about one of Australia's favourite dog breeds. If you haven't seen the Australian men's netball team, you probably will hear about them soon enough. They did something on the weekend that was a bit unconventional and took people by surprise. They busted out the bye 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 in sync dance routine, full choreographed pre-game. And it was hilarious. You see they were playing South Africa. They're on the halfway line, like you line up for a haka or a sippy towel or whatever. And then the boys start jumping around on the court, and the crowd went absolutely nuts in New Zealand, where the Fast 5 tournament was being held. We did a story on it at news.com. The video is great. Of course, we got some haters and you can imagine some of the comments from dickheads who can't enjoy a bit of fun, a bit of lighthearted entertainment, something different in sport that we need. But huge amount of support. The Hello Sport podcast boys gave us a shout out for our story on the netball, and nice one, boys. Thanks for reading and pointing that out. But more of it, as far as I'm concerned, it was great. We just need a bit more of this stuff, a bit more colour, something different. Good on them. They won the tournament too, so they didn't just dance, they backed it up on the court. Don't hear a lot about men's netball, but I thought it was awesome. So nice work, Kelpies. We'll leave it there. Thanks for watching Sports Ranting.